YouTube, Jessie here, and today I do not have a stream for you, but I do have a game review on early access Solasta II, which was released I think on March 10th, and it's not set to be an official release until I think 2027, but I wanted to give you guys a first look. It's a CRPG style game, and I'm kind of reviewing it from the perspective of somebody who has about 750 hours in Baldur's Gate 3. So that's kind of like my favorite CRPG game. I know there are many experts in the CRPG realm who have thousands and thousands of hours, but I thought I wanted to give you guys a little peek at the game before you decide to hop on early access, or if you wanted to wishlist the game. I'm going to review it based on art and design, gameplay, story, since I really think that any RPG should have a really strong driving story. And then if it's a good bang for your buck. I obviously can't tell you guys how to spend your money, but maybe this is something that you'd want to play a little bit early on and support the team, support the devs. Full disclosure, I am not sponsored. I paid for the early access version with my own money, so this is really coming from my own thoughts and opinions, and I just want to give you guys a really fun look. First things first, I want to talk about art and design, just because I come from an art and design background and it's my favorite thing to look at in any games. And I'm not going to go too in depth because I don't want to spoil anything if you do decide to play the first 20 hours or so of the game, but I will say that it is beautiful. The world seems very immersive, the way that you move your character around. The one thing that I will not beat, what do they say? What's the saying? Beat a dead horse or something. I'm not going to do that because there's so much feedback on the character creator, and the devs have already responded, as you can see. So I don't want to get too nitpicky about this part, but the character creator was definitely lacking. Not with necessarily options, but just with, I guess, with options, because you could not make a baddie. I always, every time I play a game, I'm like, I want to make a baddie. I want to make baddies, especially when in this game, you can make 4 custom characters on your team. So if you come from Baldur's Gate background, if you come from another game, usually you have in-game NPCs that kind of join your group, and they do have pre-made characters that you can select, but you can actually make a full team of 4. So I was a little bit disappointed when I couldn't make a cutie character and kind of had to have a little bit of semi-chopped team running around the game, which actually didn't matter that much because the only time you see your character in game is when you're in dialogue. And while there was quite a bit of dialogue, there's also other parts of the game. So, you know, you've got fighting, walking around the world, and then also making decisions once you're going through the map. So it wasn't like necessarily the biggest issue. And that being said, as you're making your way through the world, I really appreciated the immersion and the ability, which kind of goes into gameplay style, the ability for you to switch the movement of your character. So you can either have a top-down view, which I feel like is more classic to a CRPG style game, especially when it's so influenced by tabletop, or you can follow your character kind of as if you were using a controller, like a more third-person viewpoint, which really allows the world building that is so beautiful. Just the little details they put into the NPCs, some of the buildings, etc., the items that you pick up was actually just so satisfying to experience as somebody who appreciates those little things. And the last thing I wanted to mention about art and design is the UI. I thought everything was really clear, fun, easy to understand. When the dice rolls, you can see in a fight exactly why you missed a hit or you missed your spell or whatnot. The items have really beautiful illustrations. The way that you interact with merchants, I also thought was really designed well. And I didn't feel like in the game I was searching the menus for certain things. Like I felt like I really was able to quickly understand how to find certain things. And I think that's more of like, that's a design and gameplay element that kind of intersects. But I think with a game that has so many moving pieces, such as like items, spells, all these different things that you can use throughout the game and use it to play a little bit more creatively, it's really important for the players to be able to achieve that relatively easily. So basically for art and design, I would probably give it a 7 out of 10, just docking a few points because of the character creator, and I wanted a little bit more flexibility with that and a little bit more options to customize my characters, especially when you're playing an RPG game, especially when it's based on D&D, where you can really customize your players and really make them part of the story, which goes into the gameplay, which, like I said, is based on D&D. You can choose. Right now they only have, I think, 6 classes that you can choose, and I know that they're going to probably be adding more classes. There was a wizard, a sorcerer, a paladin, a cleric, a fighter, and a rogue. Now, I was a little bit disappointed that there wasn't a bard right away, but you know, they'll get to it eventually. I just feel like sometimes, like, I know they're different, and I know people might get a little bit nitpicky at me saying this, but I feel like if you're gonna make 2, like, I feel like a wizard and a sorcerer, I'm just like, there's like a little bit of crossover that I'm like, I wish I had a bard or more charisma based characters, which leads me into the other point of your speccing and your ability to design your character to play the game, not just only looks wise, but customizing your character in terms of their move sets. You could only in early access level up to level 4, but there were definitely different skill points, ways that you could adjust and min-max your team to probably optimize for the campaign. I am not a min-maxer, so I know other players, other people will get really into this, but I definitely only looked at it, took the default, and kind of decided to just play the game. What I like about the game is that it leads you into the first tutorial portion, right into a fight, and this, I will say, is much better than other RPG games I've played. I've played a lot of games that lack tutorial, which some people say it's part of the hustle, it's part of the grind, it's part of the game, but it's frustrating when the game itself is already so complicated and you don't have a tutorial. I might have a little bit of a skewed perspective because I have played CRPG games before. So the tutorial did a really great job of taking you through different portions of the game, not only just in more of the tactical sense, but also going through certain items, dialogue choices. The other thing that I found unique and really true to kind of more of a tabletop style game was how you traveled throughout the world within the game. And when you travel to like a farther destination, it almost pans out into this board game like effect, which I thought was really cool. It actually adds a little bit more of RNG as you move through the world, because you might have like, it's almost like a mini campaign within the campaign. You might have to roll for something, might have to make different decisions, might have to take a long rest during your travels just to avoid your characters basically getting sick or having disadvantage in the next fight. So it adds another decision-making element to the game. Obviously, if you don't like making extra decisions in the game, this might not be for you, but I thought it was a really cool addition. If you do like the style of D&D, I would say then definitely giving it a 7 out of 10 so far for the gameplay. There's a little bit of glitchy stuff and frustrating things, and I feel like I was under leveled for some of the fights that I accidentally walked into, or I wasn't sure, maybe I went the wrong way. So that gameplay portion was frustrating. Otherwise, very strong on that front. And the final thing that I wanted to go over is story. Now, I don't want to go too into the story because I feel like it might spoil some things, so I'll just give an overall plot and score. The story kicks off with you returning to your hometown for your foster mother or adopted mother's funeral. And so it reunites kind of all the family characters, and creates the main plot line. There's actually another dynamic that they add kind of that relates to your family. So you have like the favorite child, the jokester, different things that I'm interested, because I haven't really seen it play out completely, but it does affect the dialogue, which role you assign to which character. And maybe you would choose like the favorite child to interact first, or like more of the mothering type person to interact second. So the family dynamic is a driving force in the story. There's also other like ancient gods, this mission that your mother kind of left to you almost. And you have like this sister that's on the run. A lot of different, I guess, forks in the road that you can follow in the game. So I'm interested to see how actually long a full playthrough will be once the game actually is fully released. While some of the dialogue is a bit cheesy,
haha, very funny,
I think the concept is rather unique, especially when you're controlling 4 different dynamic characters and focusing on all these like different relationships. So I would definitely rate it a 6 out of 10 so far, leaving like a +2 for the character development later on. It's really just gonna depend on if they roll out the story at a really strong pace and you're not just like looking for the next step. I like when the story progresses without having to like search too heavily for things. Obviously exploring is important, but maybe not necessarily searching, if that makes sense. So finally, is the game worth it? Obviously you're the only one who can make that decision. I won't tell you how to spend your money, but it's really up to you if you want to spend $40 for an early access game. I would say so far there's about like 20 hours, up to 20 hours of content. And what I like to think about it is you're making kind of like an investment for the future of the game. So especially with early access, I was just like, I think this $40 for me for this genre of game, because we don't get a ton of this style of game in this size, is really important for me. So I definitely chucked that $40 in there and was like, I'm really excited for the devs to continue making this awesome game. Seems like they're really attentive, especially on Steam. You can see all the hotfixes. I know that they have a Discord, etc. And it just feels like they're really making this game into something special. I definitely think this game eventually, when it comes out, is going to be a bang for your buck. With all of that being said, this is my final score for Solasta II. Obviously, I am a little biased because CRPG games have become one of my favorite genres in the last few years, but I would say it was an amazing game to play, worth my $40. And I hope you guys have enjoyed this review and it gives you some insight into Solasta II. If you enjoyed this content and would like to see more, please leave a like and subscribe. It really helps my channel grow as I'm adding more videos this summer, so watch out. If you'd like to watch me on Twitch playing new games, playing a variety of different fantasy RPG style games, please hop on there. You can find me at twitch.tv/Jessieology. So thank you guys for being here, and I hope you have a wonderful day, evening, night, wherever you are in the world. And I'll see you next time. Bye.